Daf Yomi, Tractate Chullin, page 49b. Just about the top of the page, about one line into it, with the words Uremini Esachei levasher al kerev. Rabbi Shimon Omer Ma chelev machazes kerev krum v'niklaf. Af kol krum v'niklaf. Rabbi Kiva Omer Ma chelev machazes kerev totav. Toisav krum v'niklaf. Af kol toisav krum v'niklaf. And the Gemara raises a contradiction from another Braita. The verse states the fat that covers the innards and all the fat that is upon the innards. Leviticus 3:3. Rabbi Shimon, in other words, Rabbi Yishmael says, Rabbi Shimon, I guess it's in accordance with Rabbi Yishmael. It says, just as the fat that covers the innards possesses a membrane, and the membrane is easily peeled off, so too, all fat possessing a membrane, and whose membrane is easily peeled, is forbidden, including the fat on the absalom. But Rabbi Akiva says, just as the fat that covers the innards is spread out loosely over them, and it possesses a membrane, and the membrane is easily peeled off, so too all the fat that is spread out loosely and possesses a membrane, and whose membrane is easily peeled, for example, the fat on the intestines, is forbidden. The fat on the abomasum is fixed tightly, and is therefore permitted. It would seem from this Braita that Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yishmael contradict themselves. Shlach Rabbi Mishmei Rabbi Yochanan kach yitzah shel mishna ve'echo kaimasov. Rabbi sent an answer in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. Such is the proper layout of the Mishnah, meaning the Braita. The latter attribution of the opinions is correct, and one must reverse the attribution of opinions in the first Braita. Accordingly, Rabbi Akiva deems the fat on the intestines prohibited, while Rabbi Yishmael deems the fat on the abomasum prohibited as well. My chazit yabchat hamaiso epach basraiso shani hocha came to kalima dafku. The Gemara asks, what did you see that led you to reverse the first Braita? Why not reverse the second Braita instead? The Gemara responds, the second Braita here is different, since it teaches using a formula just as. Because it teaches using the formula just as. Because it takes care to specifically provide the textual justifications for the opinions, it is presumably accurate about the attributions as well. Ihachi kerabi Yishmael, kerabi Kivahi. Amar of Nachman bar Yitzchak, Shamar Mishum Avoiso. The Gemara asks, if so, how can Rabbi Yehoshua claim above that the priest acted in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yishmael? It was actually in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Kiva. Rabbi Nachman Yitzchak said, Rabbi Yehoshua meant only that Rabbi Yishmael says the lenient opinion in the name of his forefathers. But the Rabbi Yishmael himself does not hold accordingly, and he considers the fat of the abomasum forbidden. Amar Rav Chelev Tahoir Soisim Tome'eno Soisim Rosheshes Omer Echad Ze V'Echad Ze Soisim. The Gemara discusses the connection between the issue of fats and that of treifot. Rav says kosher fat effectively seals a perforation that it covers, and the animal is not rendered a treifa. Non-kosher fat does not effectively seal a perforation, and the animal is a treifa. And Rav Sheshet says both this and that fat effectively seal a perforation. Boy Rav Zera, chayliv chayamai, dafka omar chayliv toir. So he says, Hainami toirhu, oy dilma mishum de mehadek, de hai lo mehadek. Rabbi Zera raises a dilemma with regard to the fat of an undomesticated animal, all of which is permitted for consumption. What is the halacha? Shall one say that Rav specifically said that kosher fat seals a perforation, and since this too, meaning all the fat of an undomesticated animal, is kosher, it is all considered an effective seal, or perhaps Rav specify the permitted fat of a domesticated animal seals a perforation only because it is firmly attached. But this, the fat on the innards of an undomesticated animal, is not firmly attached, and it is not an effective seal, even though it is permitted for consumption. Amar Abaye, mighty boyle, nehide shari b'achila, mihadoke lo mihadak. Abaye said, why does Rabbi Zera raise the dilemma? Granted that the fat of the innards is permitted for consumption, but still it is not firmly attached and clearly does not form an effective seal. Okay. Hahu nekev disas me chelev tami. Asked come to Rabbi Amaravam lemayni chushla. Chada deha amar sheishis chelev tami nami soisem veoid ha'toira chasam l'mayim shel Yisrael. Gamar later Papa Rav Isura de Raiso Ve'atam B'rit HaTorah Chasam V'Moidan Shel Yisrael. The Gemara relates there was a certain perforation that was sealed by a non-kosher fat that came before Rav. Rav said, with regard to what need we be concerned? Regard to what need we be concerned? First, doesn't Rav Sheshet say that non-kosher fat also effectively seals a perforation? And furthermore, in general, the Torah spares the money of the Jewish people, and it is appropriate to rule leniently in this regard. Rav Papa said to Rava, but there is also the opinion of Rav that non-kosher fat does not seal a perforation, and this dispute concerns a prohibition by Torah law. And yet you say that the Torah spares the money of the Jewish people. One cannot rely on this principle to rule in accordance with the lenient opinion. With regard to such matters, bin yomin kan duka Igalele besukta busketa deduvsha. As the coming Rava lemayni chushla choded nan shlosh mashkim asurim mishum gilui hayayin ve'amayim ve'acholov usha kol mashkim mutarim v'yitor chasar mum Yisrael. Amar le Rav Nachman bar Yisrael Rabbi Shimon sakanat Sakanas nefashos af amar the Torah chasam v'moim shel Yisrael. The Gemara relates a similar episode. Min Yomin, the jug maker, had a jug full of honey that was left uncovered, and he was concerned it might have been contaminated by snake venom. He came before Rava to inquire as to the halacha. Rava said, with regard to what need we be concerned? First, as we learned in a Mishnah in Shemot 8:4, 3 liquids are prohibited due to exposure: wine, water, and milk. And all other liquids are permitted. Honey, therefore, is permitted. And therefore, the Torah spares the money of the Jewish people. Rabbi Nachman bar Yitzchak said to Rava, but there is also the opinion of Rabbi Shimon that exposed honey is prohibited. And this dispute concerns a matter of mortal danger. And yet you say that the Torah spares the money of the Jewish people? Rabbi Shimon ma'i the Tanya Chamishain bohem mishum gilo itzir. Rabbi Shimon merav hein yesh bahen mishum gilui. Amar Shimon ani roisi nachash shisas tzir besaydon. Amar lo shat yohava ve'em mevin raya min hashoitim. Okay. The Gemara clarifies what is the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, as it is taught in Bright to 5 liquids are not subject to the prohibition of exposure, since snakes do not drink them: fish brine, vinegar, oil, honey, and fish gravy, made from fish brine mixed with oil and salt. Rabbi Shimon says even they are subject to prohibition due to exposure, and Rabbi Shimon said, I once saw a snake that drank fish brine inside him. The rabbi said to him, that snake was strange. It behaved differently than other snakes. One does not bring proof from strange creatures. Amar le odili mi haspitzir harababarahuna b'rei Rav Yehoshua v'Rabanan Ki Yavdo Galuyam. Shadu Le Betzil. Amalei. Odili Miha Bidvash. De Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. Koi Bekavaseit. Tanyo. V'chein Haya. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. Oiser Bidvash. Rava said to Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, concede to me at least, with regard to fish brine that is not prohibited by exposure. As when Rav Papa and Rav Huna, son of Yehoshua, and the sages would have a case of exposure of some liquid, they would cast it into fish brine. The sharpness of the brine neutralizes the snake venom accordingly, just as the halacha is not in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon with regard to fish brine, so too it is not in accordance with the opinion with regard to honey. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak said to him, concede to me at least with regard to honey that is prohibited by exposure, as Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar held in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Shimon, as it is taught in Bright, and likewise Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar would deem exposed honey prohibited. Amar Rav Nachman chelav asui hikoei in asoi simheicha amar le chite dichar kisha amar la tar kisha deliba. The Gemara returns to the initial discussion with regard to fats and perforations. Rav Nachman says permitted fat that is made like a hat. Permitted fat that is made like a hat does not effectively seal perforation, even though it is perforated for consumption. The Gemara clarifies what is this fat. Some say is the grains of fat found on the rectum, which, if perforated, renders the animal treifa, and some say that is membrane surrounding the heart, which, if perforated to the chambers, renders the animal treifa. Amarava Shemayas Mina that of Nachman Tardichim Tzabarchim Chasasim Chalosasim, Loidana Haminayu, Rafuna Bachinina, Rafuna Breda of Nachman Amar Barchim Tzasasim, Chim Chalosasim, Omrav Tavus. There's Rav Tavus again. V'simonaich Yafik Koach Haben Mikoach Av. Rava said, I heard from Nachman about two fats found in the Abbat Masam in different places. One is called the Chimsa, one is called Bar Himsa, meaning son of Himsa. One effectively seals the perforation of the Abbat Masam, and one does not effectively seal a perforation on the Abba Masam. But I do not know which of them is which. Rav Huna bar Hinina said, Rav Huna, son of Rav Nachman, said that the bar Hinina seals, the Himsa does not seal. Rav Tavot says, and your mnemonic is, the power of the son is greater than the power of the father. Hai Chimsa v'hai bar Chimsa. Tashima Azaru Nachman Inhu Meichal Achali. The Gemara asks, which is the Chimsa and which is Bar Chimsa? The Gemara suggests coming here a proof from that which Rav Nachman says with regard to one of the fats of the Abba Masam. Can it be that they, the residents of Eretz Yisrael, eat it, considering it permitted for consumption?